Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to Jenna Steele Stadium. Round 15 here in NPL Victoria, and it's a meeting of two familiar foes who were both contending for promotion to this competition just 2 years ago. Dandenong City with a point to prove. They have never beaten the Preston Lions in a competitive game. 4 defeats and 2 draws in their 6 meetings in their history. The Preston Lions looking to regain their finals footing. They had a big win last week against Hume City to maintain 5th place. But with no less than 4 teams hot on their heels, nothing less than 3 points will do in front of their home faithful. Louis Etsevsky names an unchanged starting lineup after the 1-0 win at Broadmeadows. Lucas Trenkovsky between the sticks. Stefan Nigro, Jake Tchaikovsky, Matthew Bozanovsky and Adrian Valenti make up the back 4. Ollie Kubalay and Brandon Lawton are the midfield pairing. In front of them, Jason Romero, the American superstar, who has 3 goals in his last 4 NPL Victoria outings. And his father, I'm reliably informed, has flown over from the States to watch him tonight, so a bit of extra motivation for him. Leighton Brooks, Connor Bell and Giorgio Sir Dennis are the front 3. Aaron Anderson, Dom Felino, Marcus Schroen, John Albano, Jonas Markovsky and Jacob Ogdanovsky make up the substitutes. For Dandenong City, just the one change, and it's a welcome one. The return of their captain and leader, Jack Webster, from suspension into the back line. Alongside him in defence, Corey Sewell, Gaku Inaba and Tom Yanakopoulos. Pierce Clark, as always, between the sticks. He hasn't missed a minute this season. Danny Kim and Jamie Latham alongside George Lambatarides in midfield, Will Bauer, Kenny Athew and Yagub Mustafa up top. On the bench for Dandenong City today, Valley Chesnick, Brad Plant, Diego Cuba, Tim Atharinos and Matthew Marum. Early tackle from Lawton goes unpunished as Yanni Zizis, today's referee, waves on for an advantage. Here's Sewell for Latham, who was offside. Dandy City coming off 4 successive wins in this competition. Had a ropey start to the season, but they're on a tear now. Absolutely ideal conditions for them. On a playing surface that they will certainly enjoy. My name is Josh Parrish, and I'm delighted to have Lockie Avil alongside me tonight. Welcome, mate.
Good evening, Josh. Very good to be here. A very exciting clash we have for us tonight. 2 teams that in the first half of the season have earned their place in this finals conversation, and now it's about battling those around you, and this is exactly what we have tonight. Obviously 5th and 7th on the table, less than a win's worth of points between them. This is the kind of game that will have a big impact on the remainder of the season.
Such an exciting night here in Victoria. 4 Friday night kickoffs, each with huge stakes for the teams involved. Bozanovsky and out for a throw.
Yes, we've been marvelling as we've been preparing before this game. The very interesting sequence of events over in the original Melbourne Derby so far. 2 goals and a red card, all to the same player. Yeah,
just like the last month. The Pope is the big story. Jack Pope with 2 goals and a red card in 40 minutes over at Summers Street. We'll see if anyone can emerge as that sort of main character tonight. 2 absolute cracking finishes as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple of Dandy City talents that can certainly rival that sort of spectacular effort from distance. They were the team that scored the most goals from outside the box last season. Tim Atharinos, who was responsible for 3 of those, is on the bench tonight. Lambatarides loves a long-range bomb. Tom Yanakopoulos has already scored from distance this season in the Dandenong Derby, no less. And of course, Jason Romero has added several to his highlight reel in the last few weeks. Dandy City with the early running here. It's all been played in their attacking half. Hurled long into the box. Negro away from trouble. Inaba. Back to Webster, who of course scored against Preston in that entertaining 2-2 draw in round 2. Passes it to the other man who was on the score sheet that night, Jamie Latham, a super sub in round 2, now cemented in the starting lineup. And the Welshman knocks it inside. Yaqub Mustafa with the first chance of the game, and he blazes it high and wide over the on-rushing Lucas Trenkowski. Big chance for Dandenong City.
A great ball in there from Bauer. Noticing just a little pocket of space for Kenny Thew to run in behind. And it really has been all Dandenong in this first 5 minutes or so.
Yaqub Mustafa. Had his injury problems this season. Just the 1 goal to his name, 9 appearances. The man who was the match winner in the 2022 Doherty Cup final at Lakeside. And playing for Nick Tolios's Bentley Greens. Knocked long and diagonal towards Inaba. Appeal for handball against Lawton. He did enough. Neither player giving anything away in that one. Cannons off Lambatarides from Brooks and out for a Preston throw. And the Lions really need a bit of composure and a spell on the ball here.
Yep, they've been continually pushed back to the start of this game. We talk about the pressure and the stakes on it being so close together. You don't want to allow too much time to elapse without establishing a foothold on the game.
Preston did absorb a lot of pressure in the second half last week against Hume City to hold on to that clean sheet. Late free kick from, I believe it was Burkhan Kurdar, whistling over the crossbar, was as close as Hume City got. Preston were under siege in the last 15 or 20 minutes. Pretty good defensive record this season, but haven't polished off as many of their attacking chances as they would have liked. Just 20 goals in 14 games so far, which doesn't really reflect the amount of opportunities they've generated in several of the games. Brewing missed opportunities from earlier in the season, such as at home against the Oakley Cannons in the final minute, away to Port Melbourne in similar circumstances. Negro. He and Matt Bozanovsky have not missed a minute for Preston so far this campaign.
You're looking at Preston's season so far, and a clear pattern emerges from the games where they've lost, and they've conceded 3 goals in every single one of them. So you're right, they haven't been converting as many opportunities as they would have liked going forward, but it's just as key, obviously. It's a bit of a football cliche, isn't it? But you've got to keep them out just as well.
Bozanovsky striding forward. Long ball hit in the direction of Bell, and it races through to Clark. Connor Bell's grandparents are in town from the UK.
It's a real family affair tonight.
Absolutely. Family reunion. Inaba gave it away, and Romero slides it through for Sir Dennis. He's got Webster for company and can't keep his feet.
That's what you want from your skipper, coming back into the team out of suspension.
Negro, great touch and combination with Lawton. Cross falls short of the mark. Seeing Yannikopoulos move out to right back to, this evening, with Corey Sewell switching across to the other side. No Jackson Leno in the lineup tonight. Yannikopoulos has been Mr. Fix-It for Nick Tolios's team. He's played holding midfield, central defence, full back. Might see him up front by the end of the season. Lawton, well worked by Preston. Past the first line of the Dandenong City press. Now Brooks, opportunity to take on his man. City goes short to Romero's feet. Valenti had to get rid of it. And now it falls to Kenny Athew. The attack breaks down in disappointing fashion as far as Preston's concerned. Sewell forced back towards the corner.
And you can see Stefan Negro already having a very big impact on this game. Dandenong doing well to control central areas of the field. He's almost been that guy who can put his foot on the ball and slow things down just a little bit and find the right pass. Crucial player for Preston.
It's one opening so far if you're just joining us. Yagub Mustafa. It was well won by Lawton, but he couldn't reel in the second time. And Batteriti spreads the play. Bauer with the early ball in. Latham making a nuisance of himself. Take a touch off Negro. Trickles over the line for a corner.
You have a good eye if you can see it's over the line. I thought it might have just stopped a tiny bit short.
So that's a scandalous handball from Latham just here. It'll be Jamie Latham to take. He had no doubts. And he sends it to the back post. Webster's the target. Heads down into the danger zone. Athew had a swing at it but couldn't connect in any meaningful fashion.
No, not just sitting not quite right for Kenny.
Webster scored off a set piece last time out against Preston. Clark gets rid of it. Kubalay wins the aerial ball.
They've done well to swallow up those long balls so far, Preston.
You got Matt Bozanovsky in the back line. That's what he's there for. He's been nailed on. The centre-back spot alongside him has been a matter for more competition. Tchaikovsky displacing Aaron Anderson in round 10 against the Knights and has made the spot his own ever since. Sir Dennis. Negro. Brooks for Kubalay. Negro had to stretch. And Brooks couldn't find a teammate. As the ball pinballed around between 3 or 4 players. Really well won there by Kenny Athew. Lambatarides, oh, beautiful pass. Bauer cuts it back to the top of the box. Mustafa lining up the shot, and it's blocked en route by Tchaikovsky.
Beautiful pass from Lambatarides. Around the outside, just enough curve on the ball, enough space for his attacker to run onto.
Combination play. It started with Athew and the hold-up play. Traditional centre-forward stuff. And Lambatarides sliding it through for Will Bauer. That seems to be the most likely avenue for Dandenong City. Bauer with the left boot on the left flank. A traditional down-the-line winger tonight. Has played on both sides, but plenty of service into the box. For Athew and Mustafa seems to be the order of the day. Now Athew knocks one through for Mustafa, and Preston are exposed. Mustafa's low ball is cut out. And well done by Valenti, who was caught late. Dandenong City's wingers causing Preston all sorts of problems on both sides.
Yeah, and Mustafa not just on the right side going forward as well, but we saw him on this near touchline just a couple of minutes ago, winning the ball back out of possession as well. So he's really clearly has a license to move around a little bit and impart his impact on the match.
And He's just waited half a beat to see if advantage would accrue. Pretty obvious shove from Corey Sewell. Didn't do enough to disguise that one. On to Bozanovsky. Dandenong City staying disciplined in their shape. Anywhere will do from Gaku Inaba. Negro. Kubele. Tchaikovsky with space in front of him. Valenti for Bell. Bell jinks in field and finds the return pass to his fullback. But it's off Mustafa and back to Webster. Well won by Tchaikovsky against Athieu that time.
Let's get up, lads, let's get up. Get up, get up.
Kubele. Negro for Brooks. 2v2 on the right flank. Brooks tries to take on both of them. No way past Corey Sewell.
I think that left wing option for Preston with Bell. He seems to be getting a lot of joy in his one-on-one against Giannakopoulos.
Bit of unfamiliar territory for Tommy G as well. Not used to defending those wide spaces. Could be a tough assignment for him tonight. Against last season's VPL 1 best and fairest, Connor Bell. Negro into the near post. Well dealt with by Inaba and Kim. Athieu was held by Bozanovsky. Groans of disapproval from the Preston bench go up as the whistle is blown. Updates from around the grounds. Oakley Cannons lead Green Gully by a goal to nil. Asad Kasumovic, the scorer. Havendale opened the scoring early on as Latham lines one up, but it's straight into the chest of Lucas Trenkovsky. So Manny Agwek breaking the deadlock in the 3rd minute at JL Murphy.
He's going to have to do pretty well there, Jamie Latham, from that kind of distance to beat Lucas Trenkovsky. But an early sider.
Always good to test out the keeper early. On a night like this, bit of mist and dew in the air. Could be a slippery one.
Never know how cold those hands are feeling early on.
Exactly. Kubele.
Do you reckon goalkeeper gloves have much warmth to them?
There's a bit of insulation there, I suppose. Maybe that will be the next innovation, built-in hand warmers for the goalkeepers. Negro. Little reverse into Sir Dennis, who thought he was held. Sir Dennis goes to the byline and Bell threw himself at it, but couldn't direct it goalwards from point-blank range.
Playing very close to the line there, Jack Webster, because he knew he was beaten. He knew that Sir Dennis was in behind. Had to make a little bit of work of it. That's kind of those little dark arts of defending, isn't it? You can't call all of them. You can't let it go too far.
Little nibble from Inaba as well. I wonder if Sir Dennis went down, would he have forced the officials to make a decision? In the end, Preston almost scored anyway. Webster's pullback would have been outside the box. Inaba's clumsy one was inside the box. So Giorgio Sir Dennis, he can be applauded for his honesty, but maybe a more savvy or seasoned operator would have exaggerated that contact a little more.
I think a clear shift. Sorry, Josh.
Go on.
You can see just in the last 5 minutes or so, Kenny Hugh, we already talked about the physical presence of a centre-back like Matthew Bozanowski. Dropping a little bit deep, you don't have to deal with it, do you? So just a little bit shallower on the long balls. It allows Kenny to dominate his duels just a little bit more.
Lawton stepping in front to intercept. Tried the more difficult pass instead of waiting for Brooks. Danny Kim. Brooks kept it in. So Dennis Romero has Bell in support. Romero could go on his own. And he misses everything. Big chance for Jason Romero. Connor Bell made the decoy run. Opens up for him, albeit on his weaker left foot, but doesn't test the keeper.
And you're spot on. Connor Bell, he threw his hands up in frustration. Why did the pass not come to him? But he did enough with the decoy run. He dragged the defender with him. He left the space in behind for Romero to run into.
I think the code there is if you're going to take on the shot, you've got to score. Otherwise, your teammate will be upset. You haven't tried to thread it through.
That's the way of a striker.
Came from the Preston high press. Want it back again here. This time Lawton will recycle through the centre-backs. Tchaikovsky is on his bike very quickly. A nicely weighted ball for Bell. He's not wasting any time. Good sliding challenge from Yannikopoulos.
We see Mustafa dropping a little bit deeper on that right wing. He's aware of the threat that Connor Bell poses on that left wing for Preston.
Now Valenti getting forward. Mustafa hasn't tracked him all the way. Can Valenti keep this in? Flag is up on the far side. It's out for a goal kick.
Well, the first 5-10 minutes or so definitely belonged to Dandenong, but Preston have really taken onus on this game so far. Just as we were talking about those aerials duels, Matthew Bozanowski very keen to actually get up the field and get straight onto Kenny Hugh off that goal kick. That's definitely going to be a duel, it seems, to keep an eye on throughout this game.
Batteridis, and as far as Lawton. Negro, for Sir Dennis. Bogged down in a series of throw-ins at the moment. Yannis is just making a point. Stefan Negro stealing too many yards.
How many times do I have to tell you with the line out of the referee?
Yeah, Negro threw it from about the same spot he was standing in anyway. Just inched forward very slowly. It's one of the least enforced rules in football, is taking the throw from the actual spot it went out. It's a real art for fullbacks in taking a run up, then hesitating, then taking another run up. Mustafa. Using Latham. Kim. Clipped ball back towards Latham. Across the box, and it's a Trenkovsky claim at the front post.
It's good creativity from Kim, but I don't know if he needed to play the ball in the air. There seemed to be that little bit of, space opening up along the ground, and obviously a ball on the ground is much easier to play than bobbing up in the air, as we saw.
Brooks. It certainly looked nice from Danny Kim. It's aesthetically pleasing, but I agree. I'm not sure if it was totally necessary. He had a bit of room. And again, maybe a clip ball gives you more chance to get numbers in the box. But another Neely moment for Dandenong City. Andy City just making sure they're going man for man in midfield, marking up Romero. What they don't want is one of the centre-backs having to step out and mark Romero if the midfield isn't picking him up, because then it creates a hole for him to exploit, or even the wingers.
Absolutely, we've seen the pace of Sir Dennis in behind if those centre-backs do become too distracted. That's the 1-2 punch they've got to be aware of.
At the moment, it's the job of George Lambatarides to stop Romero from getting free in those pockets between the lines. Webster to Clark. Goalkeeper who generated all the headlines last season with his last-minute equaliser, the Dandenong Thunder. Funnily enough, he'd already scored a goal in his career, he revealed in the week after, back in Queensland. So 2 career goals for Pierce Clark is not something many goalkeepers can lay claim to.
I bet the change room doesn't hear about that at all.
There's a lot of pressure on Nick Tolios to send him up for corners if they're losing. Brooks. Seed throw-in duties to Negro again. Nice little triangle work by Preston. Now Lawton with the give and go. Brooks can't beat the first man. Matthew again. Good hold-up play. Pass was a little overcooked for Latham though.
Yeah, those little combinations down the right have been great for Preston. You see one midfielder coming over. The first 10 minutes or so of the game it was Kublai, but now Brandon Lawton's the one stepping into that area. Between him, Leighton Brooks and Stefan Negro, they're creating a lot of opportunities just through those little bits of interplay.
Chankowski. Dandenong City are screaming for a handball, thinking that Stefan Negro touched that before it went over the line. Might be technically correct. It seems against the spirit of the law. But
well, as always, the assistant referee is perfectly on the line, unlike anyone else.
Got to trust the lino to flag that. Referee just stopping the game to tell Nick Tolios to move on. I think Louis Atsevsky is conceding that Nick Tolios might be right about that. There's a good relationship between these two head coaches. Of course, fiercely competitive during the 90 minutes, but win, lose or draw, Nick Tolios is usually very affable after the game. Inaba. Sewell. Latham. Sewell slides it through for Bauer. Bauer's ball in is a good one. No white shirt there to meet it. Kenny Atthew just a metre or two off the mark. Mustafa now trying the 1-2 with Latham again. Yanakopoulos. Swung in. Away only as far as Lambatoridis.
He's been good so far, Will Bauer, on that left wing for Dandenong City. There's just little inverted runs slightly towards the centre of the field. He seems to be finding himself with possession of the ball in some really dangerous areas.
There's a reason he started every game he's been available for this season, Will Bauer. Bell sliding in. Mustafa wraps his foot around it. Bozanovsky equal to the header. Lambatoridis strikes from range. Blocked on Roots and out as far as Sewell, who checks inside. Sewell off Negro. It spoons up into the box. Now Connor Bell trying to get ahead of Mustafa. Was he clipped there? Yanni Zizis waves it on and tells Connor Bell to get back to his feet. Lambatoridis. Touch off Sewell. Hooks it into space for Bauer. But the flag is up.
There's a real ebb and flow kind of nature to this game so far. Both teams have had moments of dominance, but obviously neither have quite converted into opportunities yet.
Connor Bell advancing into the final third. Out as far as Brooks. Negro sent in, and Arbour lost his feet and will be rewarded with a whistle. Late contact from Sir Dennis.
And I don't think Louis Ovsevsky's going to be too upset about that. You have a striker playing for the ball. It's good defending from Inaba, but you have to take those kind of risks.
Riley, a striker, was fully committed to the physical bout. He gave away a free kick, then backing away from it. Both teams have a number of players that are walking the fine line of a yellow card suspension. Negro, Bozanovsky and Kubale will all miss next week if they are booked tonight. Same goes for Yanakopoulos, Latham and Bauer. So it's that time of the season where you start losing players to accumulated yellow cards.
Is there a reset point?
Maybe in finals. I'll have to check that. I think the entirety of the regular season, if you get your fifth yellow, you're going for a game regardless of how long it's been. Back to Clark. Under a bit of pressure here. It's a difficult ball. Picked off by Brooks. Lambatoridis heads it back from whence it came. It's understated, but that's really tidy work from Negro. Just feints to clear the ball and then lets it run back so he can get a clean pass off to his goalkeeper. It's just little touches you see from the man with the armband today for Preston that remind you he's made over 100 A-League appearances.
Been a part of some very successful teams, of course, as well.
Heist and the Hunter of 2018 for Melbourne Victory. He won the championship against all odds.
Hopefully our cameras don't accidentally cut off today.
Well, no VAR in the NPL, so if there's an offside controversy, you just got to live with it. Mustafa. Webster. Yanakopoulos. Connor Bell saw that one coming. Quicker ball movement is the message from the Preston bench. They've had quite a lot of possession in their defensive half. Kim.
We've noted the ability of Connor Bell out on that wing for Preston, but they've really struggled to find the ball to get to him in the first place.
He's been making the runs, but the service hasn't quite been there. Latham ruled offside again.
Yeah, that connection with Valenti, I think, just not quite there. Just the passes that we saw there, leading in rather than leading out.
Well, Jamie Latham copped an earful from the Preston super fans on the far side there. He's usually a fairly vocal presence on the field, it must be said, Jamie Latham. The opposition fans love to get into him as a result, but he doesn't seem to mind. Tchaikovsky. Bell dropping short.
That does seem the better option, doesn't it? Valenti just inverting inside a little bit, allowing Bell to have that space with Tchaikovsky moving forward from centre back.
At least in that first phase, can work their way upfield. Really, you want Connor Bell isolated 1v1 so he can take on his man. That's where he does his best work. Lovely ball from Kubalay. Valenti didn't quite have the burst of speed to get there. Well done, Mustafa. That's great defending from an attacking player.
And then you have the bonus of Valenti being able to make those forward runs out wide. Yeah, as you say, good defending from Mustafa. But it's good build-up from Preston as well.
Missed a lot of games through injury last season, Adrian Valenti. 17 appearances in 2024, but would have loved to make more, and he was still recovering from those injuries at the start of this season. He's had a good run of games now, though. Lambatoridis. Great switch to find Bauer. Sewell is unopposed here. Corey Sewell. Too many red shirts in front of him. Bauer skips past the first challenge. Negro comes in to help. Dandenong City throw.
You cannot allow George Lambatoridis to have that much space in midfield if you're Preston. The ability to receive, take the time to look over your shoulder, turn and play such a free ball out to the left wing. You have to be closing space down quicker than that. Kubalay dropping in, helping out the defence. We see straight away Jason Romero quick on the turnover there. Over the shoulder. Where is he? Lambatoridis. He knew he probably got away and had too much space there. Wasn't going to let the same mistake happen again.
Still scoreless in this one. Good Mustafa with a great early chance for Dandy City. Connor Bell. Preston up the other end. After a low ball in, fired at some velocity by Giorgio Serdenis. Those are the two real openings of the game so far, but there's been plenty of intent and positivity with the ball from both teams. Brooks took a heavy touch, showed too much of the ball to Sewell. He hasn't had much joy tonight so far, Leighton Brooks.
No, he's been better with his team around him, hasn't he?
He's a player who can pop up one moment of quality and change a game. Doesn't necessarily have had to have had a brilliant night to do it. Latham. Some players you can tell that they might be about to do something special, and you can tell when it's their off night. Leighton Brooks barely have a sniff for 60 minutes and then score a screamer. So, oh, and there's a little late shove from Negro, and he might be in a bit of trouble. Jamie Latham has plenty to say about that. Cooler heads prevail. Tiani Zizis gives Stefan Negro a talking to.
And I think a rather polite one given the scenario as well. The ball was well and truly dead. 2 hands in the side to push him over.
Yeah, well, he'd be missing next week if Tiani Zizis had taken a dimmer view of that. Just a warning as it stands. Trankowski goes with the one-handed punch. And now Latham on the spin, and the deflection off Bozanovski took all the sting out of the shot. Now Preston try and go quickly down the other end. There's 5 Dandenong City defenders back already, though. Brooks off the left boot. Floats it in towards Bell. It might fall for Romero. Just wouldn't sit for him, and it's chested back coolly by Danny Kim to his goalkeeper.
Yeah, he was aware of the players around him, was Romero. Not 100% committed to the shot. It's probably hard to be when the ball's just sitting up that high as well.
And Batteridis. Inaba. Webster wraps his foot around it, fires it in towards Yagub Mustafa. It's dangerous when he picks up speed. The feet of Bauer, it doesn't stick.
Well won.
He just was playing on the edge of a foul there, Will Bauer, but really well to keep the contacts side to side. Cut out by Connor Bell.
He's been making a nuisance of himself, Connor Bell, the last 5 minutes. I guess that's kind of what we're saying with Leighton Brooks as well. If you can't get too many of those opportunities, then find a way to get into the game in some other way.
It's one of the reasons the Preston fans love him so much. It's not just the goals and the moments they remember. It's also when he'll track back 40 yards and put in a perfectly timed sliding challenge to stop a counter-attack. It's that kind of grit and graft that is really appreciated by those in the grandstand. Of course, when you've come through the English lower league system, that's baked in. That's the stuff you're expected to do. A few of these players have. Webster and Latham.
That is something we hear a lot about in the opposite direction. A lot of Australian players going overseas, especially those winger types, having to get used to the added defensive responsibility as well.
Well done from Bozanovski. Lawton. Dispossessed by Lambatarides. Always a tough effort on goal from there.
Just a slight lack of ability to hold possession in the last few minutes, Preston. We've seen both midfield paired, Lawton and Kubalay, just little slips, little misplaced passes, loose touches. Of course, they've held a majority of the possession in this game, so 1 or 2 doesn't mean too much of an issue. But you can't have that trend to continue into the second half.
Coming into this game, Preston have the 3rd best home record in the league. 5 wins and 1 defeat. from 6 games. Only Heidelberg and Avondale have a better points per game record than Preston in that regard on their home deck. Dandenong City, conversely, struggle to get results at home, but they're the second best away side in the league. Only the Oakley Cannons have won more points on the road. It's a good move from Preston. Romero is going to check back inside. And outside again, clips it in towards Sir Dennis, who can't make meaningful contact. Romero got a foot in on Mustafa there. And the ball spills to Latham. Now Will Bauer with acres of space in front of him. Try and take on 2 here. Will Bauer, brilliance. Jinks past Negro. Bauer goes for goal. And it was always sailing high and over the crossbar of Trenkovsky.
Hasn't he had a good first half, Will Bauer, out on the left? He's had those little moments just on the kind of that corner area of the penalty box, but allowed a little bit of space to run. He gets his first chance at putting one into the net.
That would have been goal number 5 if he found the back of the net there. Will Bauer this season. One of the players who's come up with them. The promotion winning squad. Former Edgeworth Eagle. Actually part of an Edgeworth side that made it all the way to the NPL National Finals in 2016. As he was a teenager in that side. As 1 minute goes up on the 4th officials board. NPL National Finals, remember those? So, they went down in the final to Sydney United that year. And the whistle goes against Connor Bell. Fact that the ball's gone out. It's going to be a Preston throw.
Obviously the ball's on the far side here, but the way that Dandenong is setting up off the ball, they've noted the same that we have about Leighton Brooks. Sewell's had his number so far in this half, so allowing him to be isolated, we saw just a couple of minutes ago a one-on-one down in this near touchline. That's not where Preston are getting their joy. They're getting their joy from combination play and the isolation on the left. And the way that Dandenong is sitting up right now, they're not allowing that to happen.
And Yanni Zizis calls time on the first half. A scoreless opening 45 here at Genesteel Stadium. Both teams have had chances. It's hardly been an end-to-end first half, but certainly plenty to mull over at the break for Louis Etsevsky and Nick Tolios. Josh Parrish here alongside Lachlan Avil. I'll give you the final word, Lockie, on the first 45.
Yeah, interesting first half. Obviously no goals to come yet. Couple of little chances just sneaking in towards the end of the 45. Obviously Mustafa with that opportunity early as well, but it's poised, this game. Obviously this means a lot for these two teams. Quite close on the table, and obviously it's the second 45 where the score is decided, so more to come, I think.
Dandenong City could climb as high as 5th with a win tonight. Preston looking to hold on to their final seeding and close the gap on the Oakley Cannons. We'll take a short break here on the NPL Victoria live stream. The halftime score in Reservoir is Preston Lions 0, Dandenong City 0. 2, 1, mics up. Welcome back to BT Connor Reserve, Genesteel Stadium in Reservoir, where the halftime score is Preston Lions 0, Dandenong City 0, in this battle for the top 6. Dandenong City looking for their first ever win over the Preston Lions. They would, such as the jam-packed nature of the middle of that table, vault Preston into 5th place, at least temporarily, if they win tonight. Yaqub Mustafa and Connor Bell with the 2 best chances of the first half. But it's all to play for in the second 45. Josh Parrish here alongside Lachlan Avell. Lockie, what did you make of the opening stanza, and what are you expecting to see from this one?
Well, it's clear. Oh, jeez.
We'll stay with play just for a moment as Lucas Trenkowski keeps us on our toes with a less than convincing clearance. Webster sends it away.
Yeah, well, straight away we've seen both left wingers for these two sides who had pretty good first halves as well. Bauer and Bell, of course, for Preston, were very influential. But for the two sides, obviously very closely balanced. It's been a tight game.
Risky back pass from Adrian Valenti forces Trenkowski off his line.
But clearly Preston just a little bit nervy coming out of the sheds.
Nervy, loss of concentration. I'm not sure what you call it, but Lukatsevsky won't be pleased with his side's reaction in the first minute of this. Goal kick, well done by Bell to see it over the line.
And of course these two teams, Preston over the last 5 years or so, and then Dandenong City over the last 20, have had their own rises up the Victorian footballing pyramid. So similar, obviously, yeah, different time frames, but to have come this far as teams, it's very impressive. And now they're fighting it out for positions in the final series of NPL Victoria.
Bell. Chance of a flag against Romero. He was looking across the line. The officials have let it run. Kim. Lawton back to his goalkeeper. Bozanovsky. Lawton to Negro. Now Brooks. Kubalay. Run down by Kim. Lawton came flying in. Latham sidesteps the challenge and accelerates away down the left. Looking for support in the form of Bauer. Superbly covered by Bozanovsky.
Well aware of the danger, wasn't he?
He was in the team of the week last week. He's been pretty solid tonight as well. Bell for Brooks. Preston try and put their foot on the accelerator here. Romero slides it through. Bell goes for the unselfish option. And Giorgio Serdenis had already overran the cutback. Hindsight is 20/20, of course, but Connor Bell will be wishing he'd gone for goal.
He's got to shoot there. He's in behind. He's got the angle towards goal. It's a superb ball as well from Romero. Just a little flick in behind for the running Bell oncoming. That was one of those moments, Josh, we were talking about it. Got to capitalise when you can.
It's been a game, a few chances, plenty of presence in and around the box. The both teams have threatened, but openings like that have been few and far between. Bell has been very bright. The 1-2 with Lawton. Bell got the assist for Romero's winning goal against Hume City last week. Mustafa, superbly done by Tchaikovsky. If this is a Preston ball, the assistant is unsure. came back off Mustafa there for mine.
I think I agree with you.
It's possible to be too close to it to actually see what happened. I think the assistant was just as concerned about self-preservation and not getting bowled over there.
Especially when it's close to you on the line like that and you have to look across for the offside as well. Your eyes can't be in two places at once, unfortunately, as we would have loved for all referees to be.
Cut back towards Kim. Chance to cross. It's a floater straight to the arms of Trenkovski. Goes for the simple short roll to Bozanovski. Lawton spots a pocket of space. Dandy City have a problem.
Is it Lambatarides?
I believe it is. Just by process of elimination, that is George Lambatarides who's on his haunches. He just copped a stray arm. Maybe an accidental stud. Incidental contact, but can be painful nonetheless.
Yeah, I think just in that little duel with Kubalay there.
And sportingly returned to Preston in possession.
You could kind of see the war in Oliver Kubalay's head there. Oh, I probably should put it out. I probably was the one that did it to you as well.
It's the angel and the devil on your shoulder every time in that situation. Preston weren't on an obvious attack, so it made sense to bring play to a halt just briefly. And another look at the live scores. Melbourne Knights 0, South Melbourne 2 at full time. What a win for South Melbourne away at Summer Street in their fight against relegation. They played best part of an hour without Jack Pope, who scored the opening 2 goals, but held on with 10 men to finish with a clean sheet and a win. The Knights in real trouble at the foot of the table now. Oakley Cannons still nursing that 1-goal lead against Green Gully at Jack Edwards Reserve. Avondale likewise a goal to the good against Port Melbourne, who looking like surefire relegation candidates a couple of weeks ago until that win over South Melbourne at Lakeside last week under new boss Maxi Gajdowski, who was part of the coaching staff here at Preston last season.
When you're a team that's down the bottom of the table like South and Knights are, you're often looking for moments, individual moments that you can cling to that can provide, you know, fuel and inspiration for the future. You think about how South Melbourne must be feeling right now. Not only a 2-0 win in a big game, but to have gone through that second half with 10 players, that's a kind of moment that has potential to turn your season around.
Romero. In 3 months since their last win. It was against the Melbourne Knights. They've cycled through every other team in the competition without a win, so it's been dark days for South Melbourne. Keep our focus on the action here as Connor Bell has to settle for a Dandy City throw.
He'll rue that missed chance, but he's been everywhere in this first 10 minutes of the second half.
And Preston's brightest spark in attack tonight, Connor Bell. Lawton. Kubalay. Matthew. Simple layoff into space for Saul. Now Dandenong City can advance. Bauer. Sneaks it off his toe to Lambatarides, who spreads the play. Latham has to double back a couple of paces, but he's got a chance to cross here. Straight to Trenkovski. Too many of those deliveries from wide areas. Ending up right with the Preston goalkeeper. That's a let-off.
Yeah, and I think Preston still just giving Lambatarides way too much time in midfield to turn and pick his pass.
Acres of space the other way, though, as this game opens up. Brooks going at Bauer. Brooks across the box. Romero still with a chance. Jinking inside too. Romero! Well held by Clark. Through a sea of legs. He thought that was Jason Romero's moment.
Here we go, Josh. It's firing up now.
Just feels like the handbrake has been taken off this game in the last couple of minutes. Preston's first shot on target of the night. First real save for Piers Clark to make. Inaba. Webster. Yanakopoulos. Well done from Bell, and Valenti steps in. That's superb defending to block off the channel inside, and then to the hard yards to close down the fullback on the line. Not put it out of play, but keep possession.
It just feels like with those first few little wobbles in the opening minutes for Preston, there's more intent about both of these sides.
Trenkovsky will take no chances. Sewell. Yanakopoulos has got space to exploit if he can get there. There's no beating Connor Bell again. Tracking back all the way. His best moments have been his defensive interventions. It's been handy in attack, but really reliable tracking back. Valenti. Sir Dennis flattened by Mustafa. And the whistle goes late. Bozanovsky. Sewell. Checks inside. Bauer fancies an early ball for Athieu to chase. Instead, it's cut out by Bozanovsky. And Lawton gets Valenti involved. Tchaikovsky, Latham pressing with real intent.
The amount of grunt work that Brendan Lawton has had to do in midfield for Preston tonight is one of those players often under-rewarded, but the team doesn't operate well without him.
Mustafa. Winning it back, Latham goes for goal. It's way, way wide of the mark. He's always full of running, Brandon Lawton. Former Melbourne Victory player, had his run in the team at right back for a decent spell with Hume City. '24 A-League appearances to his name. Flicked on towards Sir Dennis. Romero's in support here. Sir Dennis looking for the 1-2. Really well held. Lawton had to hit it first time. Bozanovsky battling with Athieu and coming out on top. And it's hacked into the grandstand by Corey Sewell.
Jason Romero just has the knack of finding the right positions at the right time, doesn't he? He manages to find those little spaces in between the lines and make the two players around him receiving and passing off the ball that much better.
Kubalay. There's two balls on the pitch at the moment, so hopefully the action stays away from that stray one in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Romero. Lifts it into a channel for Brooks. Little roll towards Negro. It was a nice idea. Preston have a corner.
Talk about the angel and the devil on your shoulder. Another little moment from Bozanovsky. Do I go get the ball? Do I leave it? Is there enough space?
It's always a tricky calculation. Maybe I want it there if Dandenong City break on the counter-attack.
But you don't want the excuse if you go on and put a goal in.
Exactly. It's going to be Adrian Valenti to take. Preston have had precious few set-piece opportunities tonight. It's a short routine. Valenti, dangerous ball in, and Bozanovsky flashes the header wide.
And he knew what a big chance that was, Bozanovsky. He's been winning all the aerial duels in defence. That was his opportunity to win one in the front third as well. Just etching past.
He's yet to score for Preston. You imagine it would be a situation like that and could lead to his first goal for the club. I don't think he ever scored an A-League goal either, so it would be his first goal at senior level. Bozanovsky could hit the back of the net.
You see a centre-back of his height, you kind of just assume he's got up at a corner once or twice in his career.
He may have scored a couple for the Melbourne Victory Academy team, but that would have been against senior opposition, so I suppose that counts.
Just get shape now, just get shape.
Tchaikovsky, Valenti, off Athieu. And ball called against Brandon Lawson. A few words exchanged between Valenti and Latham as they got tangled up.
I think Latham was a bit upset. He was trying to do the sportsman thing of allow some space and allow him to get up. Wasn't quite reciprocated. Probably wasn't aware of it as well.
I think Valenti almost gave him a piggyback there. Webster sends it long, no connection. Tchaikovsky can restart quickly. Preston with numbers in support. Negro. Brooks takes it infield and finds the gap for Romero, who jinks past his man. Romero, was looking for Bell. Couldn't find his feet. And another big opening for Preston goes unrewarded.
And again, it's that link up of Romero in those tight spaces. Always finding the little pocket.
He's not been an ever-present in the game, Jason Romero, but whenever he gets the ball in the final third, you feel like something's about to happen.
Absolutely.
It's all happening over at Jack Edwards, an equaliser for Green Gully. Oakley have gone ahead again a minute later. Parity lasting only moments.
It's happened a couple of times in recent weeks for Oakley, scoring right after conceding a goal. Of course, it's not a strategy you want to rely on.
I think if you score against Oakley, you just make Joe Guest even angrier. It's never a good idea. Bataridis. Inabu. Latham. Getting to this stage of the game where the coaches might think about substitutions. Any areas of either team, Lockie, that you see room for improvement or an impact sub?
It's difficult. There hasn't been, as we say, too many of these very specific moments to where we can blame players for too much. I think obviously Leighton Brooks has been quiet on the right for Preston. He's probably where my eye would go first.
It's Corey Sewell's looping cross. Mustafa tried to chest it down. And ball into space without realising that Connor Bell was a step or two behind where he needed to be for that pass.
And just as we say, there was a gaping hole for Leighton Brooks over on the right. But if Lawton gets his head up, we'd have seen.
This is Mustafa. 1v1 against Valenti. Mustafa jinking this way and that and running into traffic. Well won by Kubalay. Romero, raking switch to find Brooks. That's a brilliant ball. And now Preston have a 3-on-3. Brooks will go for goal. And it's straight to Clark.
The prophecy almost just came true, Josh. 60 minutes of a quiet game, Leighton Brooks. And that's what I just mentioned at the end of the first half, the ability, the way that Dandenong is setting up. They are allowing Brooks that space on the right because they feel like they have his number so far. That was a lot of space.
He was well found. Preston can be really dangerous in transition if they can get the ball out to the wingers quickly. Of course, that relies on the wingers being high enough up the park while they're defending to actually get in position for those passes. Danny City like to play with these high fullbacks. They can force you back. Clark. Talk about space on the flank. Jamie Latham has escaped detentions here down the right. It's Latham. Athieu in the middle. And Negro has to turn it behind.
Great run from Latham. Almost finds Kenny Athieu, just the near post run rather than the far post. Connection not quite there. But it is opening up this contest.
Big time. Now, Nick Tolios will be the first to pull the trigger on a change. Valley Chesnick is the man ready to come on. He scored against St Albans last week. Brad Plant is the other man summoned. Only substitute appearances for him so far this season. But he did score twice against Melbourne Victory in one of those cameos to win the game. Webster. Mustafa hammers it goalwards and Trenkovski collapses on the ball. Just half a beat where you thought the ball might squeeze underneath him.
He had a tricky little angle, didn't it? Just disappeared under the greens.
Brooks, speculator in behind for Connor Bell, but Clark off his line and out to the edge of his area as he needed to be. Jonas Markovski and Gian Albano are attacking options for Preston. Dom Foligno looks like he's being taken through a few tactical nuances, so maybe a swap at fullback as well. Latham. He's been busy in this second half. Bauer. Maybe quieter after the break, after a really promising first 45 minutes. Webster. Latham. Headed down by Lambatteridi. Shot charged down by Lawton. And Latham ends up in a heap. Romero. Tries to thread the needle for Sir Dennis, who's sandwiched between two defenders and bursts out with the ball. Needs support, and it comes in the form of Adrian Valenti. Preston preparing a triple change by the looks of things. A platoon swap. Kubalay. Negro with space to attack. Brooks. Half a shout for handball. Brooks went up, the fans behind him didn't, which probably tells the story. Brooks, lovely move. Danny Kim was alive to it. Now Negro trying to keep it in towards the back post, headed away by Yanakopoulos. And now we will get those changes.
Here's where coaches earn their salt, isn't it? 65 minutes into a game of football, deadlocked at 0-0. A raft of changes coming on. How do they impact the match?
Will Bauer is coming off. Good shift from him. Brad Plant is on for Yagub Mustafa. Valley Chesnick on for Bauer. And a triple changing coming for Preston. Giorgio Sir Dennis, that will be his last involvement. Jonas Markovski on up top. It's a straight swap at left back. Adrian Valenti going to the Pine. And Leighton Brooks has been withdrawn as well for Gian Albano. So Connor Bell to the right flank, Albano off the left, and Markovski through the middle. And a like-for-like change on the left-hand side of defence. Preston corner. Despite Dandenong City's protests, Webster thought he was fouled.
Talk about impact off the bench, Jonas Markovski, a matter of seconds. Good strength. It's something, he obviously offers something a little bit different for Preston going forward. He's a tall guy, he's very strong, and out-muscling his opposition number there for a corner for Preston.
NPL Victoria Golden Boot winner. It's cut back towards Foligno, who's going to have a go. And Clark goes for the volleyball dig away. Lawton will have a crack with his left foot. And it's always drifting wide.
He saw the movement on that early, didn't he? Never interested in catching that football. Survival at all costs.
It's interesting technique, just trying to get the ball as far away as possible. Markovski hasn't been anywhere near as prolific for Preston as he was for Altona last time he played in Victoria. Just the one goal for him this season. It's been inconsistent and injury hit. Came off against Dandenong City. That was the start of his injury woes this season. He's had to settle for a couple of bench appearances of late. Albano off Webster. Scoops it over the top to Yanakopoulos. That's really coolly done from the veteran. 332 games in this competition now.
Are you surprised by the withdrawal of Will Bauer?
I think he wasn't as bright after the break. He was very good in the first half. Latham slides it through. Plants from the angle. Trenkovski saves. Athew on the follow-up gives Dandenong City the lead. Well, the substitute, Brad Plants, heavily involved in that one. Trenkovski threw a foot at it. Couldn't propel it far enough away from danger. Very coolly done by King Kenny to find the empty net.
Right time, right place. Kenny Athew, that's what you need from your striker. A great run down the left, as you say. And all of a sudden, it's the substitutes making the impacts on this game.
Well, you asked why Tolios made that change. Lachlan, I think you've got your answer. Brad Plant. He was well found by Latham as well, it must be said, who's been, I think, Dandenong City's brightest contributor in an attacking sense in this half. Preston left exposed at the back.
I suppose that's why Nick Tolios has a gig coaching NPL Victoria. He's one of
the competition's top coaches in terms of titles he's won. It's a curious situation in 2019. It's basically his first game in charge, and it was the grand final after John Anastasiadis departed for Western United as an assistant. But they pulled off the upset against Avondale that day. Lifted the Doherty Cup with Bentley in 2022. And a champion in the second tier with Dandenong City in 2023. Plants, little shimmy away from his marker. Finding Chesnick. Flying forward now. Chesnick goes for goal. Off Tchaikovsky and behind. And there's a bit of Finger pointing between the Preston defenders.
Another change being prepared as well for Dandenong City. Diego Cuba preparing to make his entrance.
Played in every game so far this season, but has yet to start one. About to be 15 appearances, all off the bench for Diego Cuba. Signed from Moreland City last season. Towards Athieu. Markovsky away, chasing down Webster, who wants to shield this behind for another corner.
1-1 now between those two, Markovsky and Webster. Corner each.
Diego Cuba ordered to go through a few more sprints. Don't want to make a change at a set piece, even if it's an attacking one. Plants. Negro. Romero, nicely weighted for Albano. And here comes the Preston counter-attack. Albano. Bell. Well done by Corey Sewell. Preston corner at the other end.
Another great release from Romero. We keep saying it, but he does it. Finding those little pockets to play into, and this time it's Albano who's the recipient.
The weight of his passes has been really impressive in this second half. Preston, goal down. Need a response here. Romero to the near post. They'll get a mulligan, a retake.
Dangerous ball. Bozanovsky right there at the near post.
Service has been precise from Romero. Can he deliver the telling contribution? It's on the money again, but Kenny Athieu is that free defender on the 6-yard box. Gobbles it up. Negro fires it wide.
Caught in two minds, I think, there, Stefan Negro. He looked up. His attacking line wasn't quite reset and ready for the cross in. A little bit more space, the shot opens up. Just a little unconvincing in the end.
Dandy City will finally make that change. Danny Kim's going to go off behind the goal. It's a straight swap in midfield for Dandenong City. Family affair in NPL Victoria for Diego Cuba. His brother Sian Cuba is at Avondale. And Oakley have surely wrapped up the points now. Cam McGilp with the sealer. 3-1 leaders over Green Gully. Still only a goal in it going into stoppage time over at JL Murphy Reserve as Avondale lead Port Melbourne.
You can see now Connor Bell, since that substitution of Albano, switched over to the right wing. New opponent to deal with in the form of Thomas Giannakopoulos.
Preston will be hoping the fresh legs will deliver attacking outcomes. Kubale towards the back post. Negro. Romero sizes it up. Elects not to volley. Still going Jason Romero. Fans went up for a handball appeal. Players less convinced.
Apologies, Giannakopoulos is, of course, the defender he's been dealing with for most of the game. It's Sewell on the left now.
Quite right. Lawton. Preston encircling the Dandy City penalty box. Every white shirt back to defence. Oh, Barno. Oh, he was offside anyway. Clark finding the head of Bozanovsky. Getting tense now for Preston. Goal down at home. Only lost to Oakley here so far this season. 5 from 6 have been wins. Fans are unaccustomed to seeing Preston go down in Reservoir. Kubalay. Tchaikovsky. Romero. Leaves Latham behind him. Held on to it for too long, but Kubalay will pick up the crumbs. Bell loops it into the box. Away by Giannakopoulos.
So many almost moments for Preston.
A lot of them haven't even resulted in shots. They've just been nearly moments, crosses, opportunities like this one, which Brandon Lawton doesn't make the most of.
He's run a mile, Brandon Lawton, in this game. Not receiving a whole lot of sympathy from his bench.
That's a tired touch from Lawton. I imagine Marcus Schoen would be the obvious change. And right on cue, he's just been summoned by Louis Etsevsky, I think. It might be Lawton who has run his race. Running being the operative word. I'm sure the GPS stats are off the charts. Foligno. Underneath that header. Kubalay tried his darndest. Sesnik. Whistle goes. Fleet-footed and nimble work from Valley Chesnik.
I'd be quite surprised if Kubalay escapes without a warning here in the form of a yellow card. It's a clear shirt pull in a very attacking position.
It's been a clean enough game so far. Yanni Zizis has seen no reason to blot his copybook. Preston leaving 3 on the halfway line here. Their intent is clear. Jack Webster having to come back. Tchaikovsky goes for the punch. It's with Brad Plant. Great first touch. The second one wasn't bad either. Cuba. No way past Negro. And Marcus Schroen is being ready to come on.
Preston, perhaps just off camera, pretty unrelenting with their wish to keep players forward of the ball as well. At least 2 of the 3 forwards with paint on their boots from the halfway line during that whole second phase.
That's the risk, the gamble they have to take, and it's a worthwhile one because Dandy City are just going to leave more defenders back. Be less likely to score a second. Especially from the set-piece scenarios. It was a strange game of chicken here in round 7 against South Melbourne when Well, Preston are going to make a sub while defending a corner. That's usually a cardinal sin if you're a superstitious-minded person in football. Schroen coming on for Brandon Lawton, as we expected. Plants. Lovely first touch. Bozanovsky was alive to the second. Kubalay knocks it in the direction of Connor Bell, and that will work out well for Preston as Bell goes 1v1 against Sewell. Bell onto his left. Oh!
That was it. That was the moment.
Whistles wide of the top corner. He thought that was a Connor Bell special incoming. Markovsky hurled himself at it, couldn't get a touch. It's been a night of nearly moments. Only 4 minutes left in regulation for Preston to turn this around.
He's done absolutely everything, Connor Bell, except the final touch in front of goal. But we talk about the risk-reward game that Preston are playing at the moment. It's paying off.
Kubalay brought down. Yanakopoulos got the man before the ball. Big set-piece opportunity incoming. This is an ideal position to put a ball into the back post.
Bozanovsky lurking.
The tall timbers all up. Every white shirt back in a crowded box. Just Stefan Negro perched outside the penalty area. It's all on Romero's delivery here. Romero, Bozanovsky bundles it home. His first goal for the Preston Lions, and it couldn't have come at a more crucial moment than that.
The tall timber arrives at the far post, but it's not at the head of Matthew Bozanovsky. It falls to his feet. He can hardly believe the opportunity that has landed before him. Could be a matter of inches in front of the goal, and the simplest tap-ins. Matthew Bozanovsky, and he has rescued this game for the Preston Lions.
And listen to that grandstand. Suddenly the fans come alive and they believe again.
And what a ball in.
Well, he could never miss from there. It was almost physically impossible. Incredible ball from Jason Romero.
It's the doubt in the head of the goalkeeper. Do you come? Do you stay? The defender's coming in. Has my goalkeeper got this? Do I need to make an extra play?
Somehow missed everybody at the near post. Just the perfect delivery. Here comes Lambatarides for Latham. Preston have to stay switched on here. Dandy City could pinch it back the other way. Chesnick. Cuba has time to measure this one. We're set for a grandstand finale at Genesteel Stadium. Both teams badly want this 3 points. Latham! What a save, Trenkovsky!
That's a game saver. The chances are flying in, and it is a game of moments. What a save. Lucas Trenkovsky, when his team needed him the most.
Jamie Latham wouldn't have been high on your list of players to score a header. It was a beautiful dive. He did everything right, and it's just the most improbable reaction from Trenkovsky with the left arm.
And he's been in that bucket of plays in this game that is just making a nuisance of himself at all moments. You never know when he's going to pop up. And as you say, probably not the player that you'd favour most with the header, but he's there in the spot to take his opportunity. Only denied by a wonderful save.
Cuba. Athew went for the volley. Whistle goes for an infringement in the penalty area. Markowski tried to take it when it was still moving. Well, it's great when you get a situation where neither team is interested in running down the clock. Dandy City will make a change though, their final of the evening. As 4 minutes go up on that board. And Jamie Latham will be withdrawn. Maybe that's a signal of intent. Dandy City will settle for a draw away from home. Jackson Leno, he might be a defender. He's a pretty adventurous fullback, so could still offer something in attack.
That's just called a winger, isn't it?
True. I think he's probably a converted winger from his youth, I'd wager. Brad Plant's going to step into a attacking midfield role. Trenkovski. Trykovski. Long one for Markowski. He's done well there. Romero trying to keep it alive. Couldn't find Bell. Now Cuba back the other way. Both teams rolling the dice here. Looking for Leno. It's overcooked from Diego Cuba. For Leno. Collision. And it will be Markowski showing the yellow card for that one. He went into the defender, took his eyes off the ball.
Yeah, couldn't escape any longer without brandishing a yellow card. In this game, I earn his scissors. As soon as you take your eyes off the ball, like Jonas Markowski did in that situation, you're always running the risk.
It's his first booking of the season. You see bench not happy about that one.
I'm sure their claim is that the push out from Markowski hit the head of Jack Webster.
I think it's into the chest from the looks of the replay, but
okay.
Certainly a yellow card. Referee's dealt with that well, in my opinion. Plants. Tight turn under pressure. Well defended by Preston. Romero back the other way. Could this be the moment for the home side? Romero holds on to it. Looks to cross it himself. Half cleared. Big shout for handball. Referee was unsighted. Plants.
And you can see that Preston want to kick on with this. Even Trenkovski into a sprint just to collect the ball.
There's no time to waste. It's given away by Trykovski. Dandy City could win it with this. It's Diego Cuba into the side netting, and that was the chance.
Just coming on the field. He let the ball just run a little bit too far across his body, cut the angle down significantly. And the keeper was always going to be the favourite in that moment. He had to go for pace.
We've played 4 minutes of added time. The rest is up to Yanni Zizis. We could do with 10 more minutes of this. It's been nail-biting entertainment here.
Absolutely.
Athew couldn't hold it. Trenkovski won't have any more time. It finishes all square at Genesteel Stadium. Both teams huffed and puffed, but they couldn't blow the house down. Preston got their equaliser after Kenny Athew opened the scoring, turning home the rebound from a Brad Plant shot. Matt Bozanovsky, from barely a metre out, scuffs it home. A brilliant Jason Romero free kick, delivering Preston a share of the spoils.
Wow, what a finish. And it turns out those two players that we highlighted early on in the game, Matt Bozanovsky and Kenny Athew, dueling in the air the whole 90 minutes. And as we were pointing out, haven't seen a career goal, at least on the record books that we've seen for Bozanowski, but his finish from close range rescues Preston a point, and you can see the disappointment on some of the body language of the Dandenong players. They thought they had a very nice win away from home here in what is a very tight midfield contest in this season's NPL Victoria, but not to be in the points are shared.
Well, no one will be happy with that result, aside from some of the teams around them. You can see the air has just gone out of this. As soon as the final whistle blew, both teams wanted that 3 points so badly. A good display from both goalkeepers, especially Trenkovski, with the reflex save to deny Jamie Latham's diving header. That's the difference between a draw and a defeat for the Preston Lions. We'll sign off here on the NPL Victoria live stream. Josh Parrish and Lachlan Avell, we've been delighted to bring you the action live this evening. The final score in Reservoir is Preston Lions 1, Dandenong City 1.